Afternoon, Paul. How are you today?
Not too bad, Peter. Are you well yourself?
I am absolutely fantastic, thanks. Welcome to the Business Spotlight. Paul, thanks for taking the time to speak with me today. Could we start? Could you tell me a little about yourself, your background, and your business, please?
Yeah, I joined Alpha 41 years ago. Alpha had been set up in 1971 by my father, at not a very nice time in Northern Ireland's past. And yes, I had the opportunity to join the business at the age of 17 whenever I was officially old enough to be kicked out of school. Um, and joined and I began my career working in the warehouse for a few years with Alpha and then progressed on through different roles to becoming a sales rep for the company, which I was for 15 or 20 years. Technically, I've never stopped that job because I think it goes with you your whole way through, and then eventually found my way grabbing the poison chalice as I got further up the tree. So that's it up until today. Alpha today employs around 100 people. Um, some of those are located in our head office here in Belfast, which we're very proud of to be still a Northern Irish centred company. And we have a large facility in Dublin and then offices in Glasgow and Oxford.
And tell me what does Alpha specialize in, Paul?
Primarily, Peter, Alpha is an office furniture supply company. So we what does that actually mean? So that's things that people would be familiar with, obviously desks and chairs for offices, filing systems, as would have been in the day whenever there's a lot more paper floating around. Um, but kitting out offices for companies of one man band to having done the likes of Allstate and Mays Meadow and organizations like that. So it'll be everything that nowadays encompasses collaboration products, work cafe settings, which everybody will tell you now that the best office for people to return to has great coffee, great Wi-Fi, and great furniture.
Very good. And what significant changes have you seen in offices in your time since joining as a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed 17-year-old all those years
Yeah,
ago?
no, it would have been more needs must and desks just built to do a job back in the day, and everybody had their place and their hands were nearly nailed to it before starting to use their golf ball typewriters and things like that. So you would see now that there'd be hardly two offices the same. Colors would play a huge part. Finishes. The office that we would be doing today would be very much semi-residential, semi-commercial, so it would have a lot more domestic feel around it. And part of that's driven by the few years that we had to all suffer the pandemic together, where people worked from home, and it became the norm to sit on your sofa in the living room to use a laptop or to sit at your kitchen table on a dining chair. So nowadays the offices are starting to resemble that a little bit. So that would probably be one of the biggest changes that we would have seen, which was really it was going that direction before COVID. Collaborative products, the way people work together was already a thing, but it was massively accelerated by COVID.
I know, and I guess even what we're doing now on the Zoom platform was something that not that many years ago would have been unheard of or high technology. What
Yeah.
about what about I guess during COVID, as we came out of COVID, there was a lot of talk about would the office ever be the same again? I mean, how have you seen things even the last couple of years since then?
Yeah, so I mean, there was a horrendous time at the very beginning where really you didn't know what was going to come next. Literally no idea. And as I talk to people today, we've sort of half forgotten that back in those days, if you were out for a walk in the evening, you had to cross the road if somebody was walking towards you. So that, we've moved from that point now to almost semi-forgetting that it actually happened. But I think the way that that we approach the layouts of offices and the way clients approach it is they still have that a little bit in the back of their mind, and they don't want to pigeonhole themselves into something that is non-transferable, that everybody has a place and they've got to sit at that place. So we would see flexibility being a huge thing now. You don't have to sit at the same desk. So all the systems that are in place now, smart working systems, whether it's with your comms, card access systems that basically mean that you can swipe it and a landline will follow you around the building. So you don't have to sit in the same place. So I think as well, people now like things like the height adjustability and workstations. So everybody's got that in the back of their mind that it's become a more common thing today. Quality's probably improved, I would say, in terms of what people are buying because they want to buy once and do it right. So an office today compared to one even 20 years ago, let alone 40 years ago, would be a more inspiring space. And really that's what we try and create anytime we're doing work for any of our clients.
Now, don't tell me you've taken away the ashtrays now after all these years as well.
Yes, and the hat and coat stands.
Very good. So what would you say has been your biggest lesson since joining Alpha?
Our company is all about the people that work for it. So my colleagues, everybody that works with me, it's really about how do we work together to deliver the best solution for our clients. Yes, we've got very close partnerships with supply chain, close partnerships and with regular clients that we've built up over that time. So some of those clients would be second and third moves in that time that we've carried out for them, and they become part of the family. But really for me, and again, COVID accelerated all of that, was this business isn't about the bricks and mortar of the buildings that we reside in. It's about the people that work for them. And as I've worked longer in the business, you realize very much that that's what we're about. It's about the people that work in the business with me.
Yeah, great share. And are there any business leaders that have inspired you or influenced you over the years, or even today?
Um, Business leaders, yes, there'd be some, that you would see and you'd watch and you would find some of them inspiring and whilst I wouldn't be a huge football fan in the sense, I've always wondered what it would be like to have a conversation with Sir Alex Ferguson. And I say it's not because I've got any leanings towards any of his teams, predominantly the latter one. It's more because he would have got the best out of all the people that he worked with, and he would have proved people wrong with putting kids into a difficult situation whenever he was told that it would never work. And I guess it would be lovely to be able to sit down and have a chat with somebody like that and just get that inspiration as to what he would have done and how he would have handled it.
Yeah, he's a great example. I always think of him as being the supreme communicator, able to get the most out of a variety of different footballers and different nationalities, different styles. Yeah, great
And,
example.
and if not that, at least he was able to resort to throwing football bits around the changing room.
Yes,
So, I sort of take my hat off to that side of it as well. So,
very good. Yeah, the hair dryer wasn't anything to do with making yourself look smart, no, that's for sure. And
no.
but what about, I mean, after being in the business for 40 years, over 40 years, what gets you out of bed in the morning now, Paul, and drives your passion for your business today?
I think sometimes I actually, and I genuinely believe this, I think I know less about our industry today than I did 20 years ago. It's a very fast pace, fast moving industry. It's become almost a bit like a fashion industry in some ways now, whereas it would have been a product thing that we would have done before. And I think it's just seeing the creativity from the teams that I work with and sharing the passion that they have for delivering as close to perfection as they can physically manage. So some of the schemes that they come up with for our clients and working alongside our clients, just that's the inspiration and seeing the end result being able to walk around a building with a client who a year previously stood in the showroom and said, "Do you think you can do this?" That's really what gets you over the line in the end.
And if you're on a desert island and you're allowed a book or a podcast or both, what would you be listening to or reading?
I would be listening to a podcast with Billy Connolly.
Okay, very good.
Because if I was ever feeling down, that would be what would spur me on. So it would put a smile on my face.
Very excellent. It seems like a blink of an eye that it was Christmas, but we're almost at the end of February. Can you believe it? Even with an extra year or an extra day in the year, rather,
Yeah.
we're in March by the weekend. So if you look forward to 2024 and beyond, what are you most excited about for Alpha?
I think we have a number of exciting prospects that we're working on at the moment, and seeing some of those come to fruition. We have a number of key clients that we're finishing work off for across the water. And one of them is JP Morgan, which is a job for almost 3,000 people in Glasgow. And the other one is Aston Martin Formula One, their HQ at Silverstone. So we've got some more work to do for them this year, and I'm looking forward to seeing those projects come to fruition. But really, just working with the teams and seeing some of the challenges that the guys are facing, and every day is a new day. You just got to keep going with it.
Excellent. And Paul, if somebody likes what they've heard and they'd like to reach out and get in touch with Alpha or yourself, what would be the best way for them to go about that?
Just ping an email to myself, which is paul.black@alphayourspace.com. And we'd be delighted to talk to anyone. Doesn't have to be strings attached. It's always good to have a coffee and have a discussion about something and lend an opinion. There's always new challenges with things that we're facing. People are saying, what should I do with my space? And the guys here can give options to that and conjure up some new thoughts that maybe clients haven't maybe fully considered. So we're always looking forward to that.
Fantastic. Well, Paul Black from Alpha, it's been an absolute pleasure to hear about a business that's almost as old as me. My goodness me, that is a success in itself. So, Les, thanks very much. It's a great story, great
Yes,
local
thanks, Peter.
business.
Thank you.
I wish you all the success for the rest of 2024 and beyond. Thanks very much.
No, that's great. Thank you, Peter.